With there being 140,000 movies made in the last century, and like you guys, I haven't seen all of them, here are the top 10 most underrated movies of all time. Number 10, Creep. You'll find out very soon that I really like found footage movies. To me, this genre is really unique and entertaining when done right, and here's a film that does it right. Creep is about a man named Aaron who drives into the woods to film a documentary with a stranger named Joseph. Joseph has cancer and is going to die in a few months, so he wants to film a movie for his kid before he dies. As the movie goes forward though, we see that Joseph may have a few screws loose and things start to get really weird really fast. This movie is truly unsettling, which is helped by the fantastic performance from Mark Duplass. He does a really good job of being sympathetic while also being a total creep. It's a disturbing film that ends on a depressing note, but it's a great found footage film that'll creep you out. Number 9, Ambulance. I haven't seen any Michael Bay movies before this one simply because of the bad rep his films get. The comedy sucks, the acting sucks, there's too many explosions. Just going to Rotten Tomatoes, you can see that Bay isn't the most popular filmmaker, but this movie actually had really good reviews. Not only that, but this is the first Bay film in a while to not be a Transformers film, so there is some excitement when it came out, and after watching this, I kinda want to see more films from Michael Bay. Not only is the action good, when it starts, it doesn't stop. 80% of this film is just action and it's never boring. It's kinda like Speed in a way, if only instead of a bus it was an ambulance, instead of there being a bomb, they're on the run from police after a bank robbery goes wrong. Jake Gyllenhaal gives a great performance as this guy is a bad person and won't hesitate to kill people while still caring for his brother. His brother is also a perfect foil to him, being more caring and having more morals than him. This movie keeps finding new ways to excite you and keeps you guessing on how these guys are going to get out of this situation. It's not perfect, but as someone who wasn't expecting much, this was one of my favorite action films of that year. Number 8, The Game. This film is completely insane. Directed by David Fincher and starring Michael Douglas, this film is about a rich man whose brother tells him to apply for the game. He doesn't know what the game is, he doesn't know when the game is going to start, he just goes to the lobby, signs up, does the test, and go back home. That's as much of this film as I'm going to tell you, as revealing anything else would be straight up spoiler. The amount of mystery and uncertainty in this film keeps you as confused as the main character. I feel like your enjoyment of this film is going to depend on the plot twist, as it is really divisive. For me, it was frustrating, but the more I think about it, the funnier it becomes. It really is a movie that sticks with you and one of David Fincher's most underappreciated outings. Number 7, Searching and Missing. I'm gonna put both of these on the list as I think they're both equally good and underrated. The first one was about a father trying to find out what happened to his missing daughter only through social media. The entire film is told through this guy's computer screen, and while many may find this type of filmmaking jarring, I was floored by how much information and story they were able to fit through this computer. Likewise, this movie keeps hitting you with twist after twist, and again, not spoiling them here, but there are a couple scenes in this film that genuinely shocked me and creeped me out, again through a computer screen. The sequel to this film, Missing, flips things around where now the daughter has to search for her missing mother. The sequel does even more with the premise, and even though I think it jumps the shark at the end, it was still really clever and very well written. If you think that a movie told through screen sounds unappealing, then this may not be for you, but for me, this was one of the most unique and creative mystery movies I have seen. Number 6, Troll Hunter. This is a foreign found footage film about a film crew who comes across a man who hunts trolls. The crew follow him around at night as we see the different ways he kills trolls and the different types of trolls that live in obscurity. It's a cheesy premise, but it's the trolls that really make this film creepy. Not only are they big, but the film takes advantage of the found footage aspect to make them almost realistic. The unique designs and world building makes for a good horror movie and a good monster movie. I've never been more unsettled by a 100-foot monster than I am with some of these trolls. It's a unique watch, especially if you're interested in Norwegian folklore. Number 5, The Platform. This is one of those movies that was really popular when it came out, and like all Netflix movies, is forgotten almost immediately. This film is about a man who gets sent to a prison where prisoners are fed through a floating platform that goes down the levels one by one. Each level has 2 people on it, and they're allowed to kill whoever they want. It's an interesting premise and good critique on capitalism and greed, where the people on the top levels eat a lot while the people on lower levels eat almost nothing. Kinda like how some people keep loads and loads of money while others have almost no money at all and need to resort to violence to survive. The pacing is tight with no scenes going without purpose. The effects also look really good and almost haunting in a way. The prison is very old and hellish, which probably isn't helped by all the death and cannibalism. Yeah, if you're a queasy person, you probably won't be able to stomach this film that well, but if you want a thought-provoking thriller, check it out. Number 4, Best in Show. I have a lot of underrated comedies I could choose for this list, which will probably show up in part 2 if I make one, but this film stands out for its constant laughs and great characters. It's a mockumentary about the contestants of the National Dog Show, all which are obsessed with winning. Every character in this film is equally funny and insane in their own way. Their obsession with their dogs feel comedically real, like the person who wrote this has met people in real life who are like this and made a movie about them. Every person I've talked to who have seen this movie loves it, and I say it's on the same level of comedy as Airplane and Monty Python, so if you want to get a good laugh, you gotta check this out. Number 3, The Prince of Egypt. When talking about DreamWorks best, this film is greatly underrated, not just as a DreamWorks movie, but as an animated film in general. This film is filled with so much emotion and depth, the characters are so profound and complex, the animation and music is done perfectly. This film is about Moses and his journey to free the Israelites from slavery. For some of you, this may immediately turn you off as it is a religious movie, and I understand if that's the case. I am Catholic and I don't like most religious movies. From the ones I've seen, I found them boring, uninteresting, and focusing more on praising God than telling a good, interesting story. I know this isn't all religious films, but it is from the ones I've seen. With that being said, this movie actually focuses on telling a good story and creating interesting characters you can relate with. The most interesting part of this film is the relationship between the two brothers, Moses and Ramesses. They both have a very close friendship and have great chemistry with each other. But while Moses' morals change and he is called by God to free the Israelites, Ramesses wants to keep them as slaves. So now you have Moses having to choose between God or his brother, and I really like that. I remember seeing this movie a few years ago about one of Jesus' disciples, and I remember being bored by it, not just because the movie has no urgency, but because the main character has no flaws as a human being. He just loves God and is flawless because of that. But Moses actually struggles with his faith and questions it, which I think is more realistic and makes for a more compelling character. But even though I keep mentioning it's a religious movie, it doesn't feel like one. The amount of creativity in the animation and the quick pacing makes it a masterpiece of animation, up there with The Lion King. I'm not kidding when I say that. And even if you still choose not to see it, at least look up the score for this film, as it's also massively underrated. Number 2, High Plains Drifter. If you're like me, you were introduced to Clint Eastwood through the spaghetti westerns he starred in and stayed for the films he directed. Whether you're talking about Gran Torino, Unforgiven, or Sully, he really is one of the best filmmakers of all time, and never is that more apparent in this film. High Plains Drifter looks like your standard western movie. A nameless outlaw rides to a small town being terrorized by gangsters, so they hire him to protect the town. The only difference is that this outlaw is a really terrible person. While you're used to Eastwood playing outlaws with somewhat questionable morals, this guy drags a woman into a barn and does some stuff I'm probably not allowed to say on YouTube in the first 10 minutes. This man terrorizes this town to the point where you ask, okay, who's the real villain here, the gangsters or this guy? The people in this town are also equally terrible, being pushovers and pretty corrupt in their own right. This western doesn't have any big shootouts or anything like that. It's just this monster protecting a bunch of terrible people from other terrible people. It doesn't make it clear who you should root for, only who you should root against. There's also a very horrific feel to this film that gives me goosebumps every time I see it. You could honestly make the case that this isn't a western movie, this is a horror movie, which is helped by the haunting score. Number 1, Fury. So I'm just gonna say it, this may be my favorite war movie of all time. Albeit, I've never seen Saving Private Ryan from start to finish, so keep that in mind. But I came into this suspecting an above average action movie taking place in World War II, and got one of the most emotional and satisfying movies I've seen. It says a lot when you have Brad Pitt, John Bernthal, Shia LaBeouf, and Michael Pena in one film, and they're all giving some of their best performances. This movie takes place in the end of World War II, and is told through the perspective of a tank crew who are low on supplies. Most of the characters are written whereas they're kind of bad people, but they have sympathetic qualities that make you root for them, and this film may have the best third act of any action movie. I'm not going to spoil it here, but it's really awesome and makes this movie a 10 out of 10 for me. Even if you're burnt out on war movies like I was before watching this, check out this film anyways and you'll not be disappointed.